Greed. Have you met a greedy person before? Somebody who wants more than is needed, more than is necessary, never satisfied, always looking for more and more and more and more. It's great to be hungry for things in life, but you make sure it's hunger and not greed. Because if greed drives you, you will destroy yourself. And I have seen lots of great people with great potential who have just been greedy in their lives, greedy for so many things that have destroyed them. So you have to watch greed in your life. Let me start by defining what greed is. What is greed? Greed is a selfish and excessive desire for more of something than is needed. Simply means that you don't need it, but you want to have it anyway. And you want to have it in excess, and it's all self-centered. You're not even desiring to share it with anybody. Greed is selfishness, it's excessiveness, and it is unnecessary because it's not something that you need. And it can be in relation to so many things. It can be in relation to money. It can relate to ambitions in life. It can relate to other desires we have in life. Sometimes they begin as good, legitimate desires, and then they get out of the hand and become something else and very, very destructive. Every greed we have in life is centered in these three areas. If you're going to be greedy, excessive, always wanting more, never satisfied, never content, never happy, never at peace with yourself, the three areas you have to watch are these three areas: the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. When what you see seduces you, what you see speaks to you, what you see begins to talk to you. Greed starts with the seduction of the eyes, what we see. And all around us we see things. We see wealth, we see money, we see houses, we see cars, we see people living well and all of that. And every time we see things, the things speak to us. They call to us. They want us to get them. The question is, whose voice would you listen to? The voice of clothes, the voice of cars, the voice of buildings, the seduction of what is seen. That is craving for riches. Have you ever gone out to the store? You see some item, it could be a shoe, could be a handbag, it could be furniture, a saucepan, and when you go home, it continues to speak to you. Has it ever happened to you before? You've left the shop, but you have a craving for it. You have a craving for it, and you talk to people about it, and everything about you says, go and get it. Greed starts with what you see, and then what you crave for. When we say that you crave for something, it means that you can't live without it. And sometimes the things that attract us are not necessary, but they are excessive, mostly because we are just coveting after them. And once covetousness rules your life, all you need to do is to devise the appropriate scheme to get the things you are coveting. When you crave for something so much, you have a plan for it. Sometimes the plan is dubious, but you're going to follow it because your eyes have spoken to you, your craving is speaking to you. Now you want to grab it at whatever cost. Hoarding of goods. Greedy people are normally hoarders. They are not distributors. They want it all for themselves. It's self-centered, it's selfish. That is the lust of the eyes. Do you know the number of things that people have coveted after? You know, sometimes it happens to all of us. You see something and you feel until you buy it, you'll never be free. And then you buy it, you use it for a while and you forget. Once in a while you open your closet and you see something that you bought. You wore once or twice and that was it. So what was it that drove you? It wasn't necessity because you haven't worn those things for a while. It was greed. So why did you buy it? It was unnecessary. You wore it once and there it is. And sometimes you go and look at the clothes that you have bought and you ask yourself, why did I buy that? But you bought it. And the reason was because you are allowing the lust of the eyes to control you. There are people who go to town and by the time they return, they will definitely have bought something. If you want to control greed, one of the things you have to do is to learn to go to the shop, pack your pocket with money or your wallet or your purse with money, but don't buy anything. That's one way to overcome self-control. Learn to be able to see things and not just be gravitating towards it. Because if you don't learn that, your eyes will lead you. That's the lust of the eyes. And the world is full of the lust of the eyes. That's why there is advertising. See all these billboards, what are they doing? They are appealing to your eyes. You see them, you buy them. The lust of the eyes. Advertisers know it, that's why they show it to us. Because they know if you see it enough, you will buy it. That's why you have a lot of things you don't need, but which you are greedy for. And when you see other people having it, you fight them to get it. The lust of the eyes is a source of greed. The second greed area is in the area of the pride of life. I'm going to show you how the pride of life works. In greed, things that will destroy us. There are people who are never satisfied no matter the position you put them in. No matter where you put them, they always are greedy for more. The first is ambition. The pride of life starts when naked and unrestrained ambition takes hold of our lives. I want to rise. And it's great to have ambition, but ambition must be restrained. All of us have got ambition. I have ambition. You have ambition. But when it becomes unrestrained is when you have an ambition and you don't care what it takes for you to achieve it. You can use fair, foul, wicked, destructive means. You can betray your best friend, kill people around you, destroy people's reputation because you want to ascend. There are people who want to ascend and they don't care what it costs. They can betray their best friend. There are people who want to get promotion in office. They don't care what it costs. They'll write letters about people, falsify information about people, set people up for failure. I will ascend, and they don't care what it takes. That is unrestrained ambition. Ambition that has no boundary, that has no self-control, that has no sense of proportion. It is greedy. I want to get it. I want to be great. I want to be big. I want to be powerful. I want to be famous. I want to be a millionaire. And I don't care what it costs. And don't come and advise me about what it costs. That kind of attitude is unrestrained ambition. I know you want to ascend, but are there any things you will say, I want to ascend, but I will never do this. I want to ascend, I will never do that. I want to be great, but I will never compromise on that. The spirit of rivalry and competition kicks in. This happens when we become so obsessed with trying to beat everyone around us. We want to beat everybody. We want to be better than everybody. Even when we don't have the talent to do what we are doing, so far as somebody else is doing it, we want to beat them. You don't know how to do accounts, but you're trying to be an accountant. You don't have the skills to be a salesman, but you're trying to sell simply because you want to beat somebody else. That is greed, and it will destroy you. It's good to have ambition in life, but you cannot be the best over somebody else. You can be the best of yourself, but not the best over somebody else. The best thing you can be is to use your skills, use your abilities, use your strength, perfect yourself, improve yourself. But don't do that with somebody as your target. And sometimes we go through life, all we're doing in life is trying to compete against somebody else. I want to be better. Sometimes you run a race that is not yours. You fight a battle that is not yours. Some people even pursue professions that is not theirs. And all they're doing is competing against somebody. Your best friend became an engineer. You want to beat him, so you become a doctor. Now you are cutting people's intestines and killing them. And you didn't want to be a doctor, but you just want to show, I can do better. And when you become so competitive, you can't even appreciate your life. Because life is not about competition. Life is not about competing with people for grades. If you would just pursue your life, you would know that nobody can grade you for who you are and what you will become. You can become far greater than the expectation of people. But if you don't know that, you're going to spend all your life trying to be like somebody. The third problem was covetousness. Covetousness is when we want what the other person has. He has it, so I must have it. He's bought it, I must buy it. He just did it, I must do it. Do you know the number of people who are just doing something because somebody does it? Somebody is married, I must marry. He had a baby, I must also produce a baby. Somebody took their children on vacation to London, so I must take my children to London. Whether it's killing me or not, my children must go to London. Somebody had a big wedding and wore a nice veil. I must wear a nice veil. What kind of life is that? It's greed. It's excessive. It's unnecessary. You don't need it, but you're going for it. I cannot do what you're doing, and you may not be able to do what I'm doing. You're called to do something different. Your skills are different. Your abilities are different. My skills are different. My abilities are different. My grace is different. My calling is different. I cannot say because somebody is doing something, I must do it. The fourth problem was imitation. Imitation is when you throw away your own uniqueness in order to be like somebody else. There are people who are imitating people every time. Don't let your life be an attempt to be like somebody else and never a settlement on who you are. I will be like. I can't be like anybody else. I am Mensa Otabil. You are who you are. That's what you are. Don't live your life trying hard to be like somebody else. There'll be two of you and one of you is unnecessary. And guess who is unnecessary? The imitator is unnecessary. But when you understand you are here by purpose, by design, and by assignment, the world needs you. The world needs your uniqueness. The world needs your special gifts. Don't try to be like somebody else. Definitely learn from people. Learn good values from people. Learn best practices from people. But practice them in the context of your uniqueness, because you cannot be like somebody else. You can only be yourself, and the best person you can be good at is yourself. If you don't control your life, one of these days you're going to get yourself into big trouble. So watch out for greed. It will destroy you.